Greetings everyone. With every Infrared Sport purchase, you get both a quick start guide and a user guide, but I also want to throw in this video guide for people who may prefer this format. So getting started here, we're going to set up the tripod. Now 2 of the legs are already ready. I just do one more for demonstration purposes. You want to fully extend that leg, lock it in tight, both at the bottom and top. Then we're going to spread them all out. We're going to take the clamp at the top, make sure that's nice and tight. Looks good. And now very importantly, you want to extend the neck of the tripod to maximize height, which will help your wireless communication. And of course, tighten that as well. Make sure everything's nice and sturdy. And we're looking good, ready to mount the actual units. Just make sure that's level. I grab a unit here, and you'll see there's a rectangular protrusion on the side, and that is what the clamp bites onto. So the clamp extends and clamps shut. Do one more quick level here, and we are ready to go. Alright, so getting into the units themselves, the power buttons are on the bottom. Once you press them, you'll hear a chirp right there. Easy to tell when the start position unit's on because it has the screen, but with the end position unit, you want to listen for that chirp. They're going to connect automatically. Again, they create their own wireless network. You don't need to be in range of another Wi-Fi router or anything. And you can see there, end position, okay, we're connected. If I can rewind a little bit there, right on the connection screen. All right, it says end okay, meaning the end position unit is connected. And you'll see mid is not available because for this demo, we're not including the split timing device, the third device that would go between these two. That is an option we all offer, but for this demo, we're just doing a start position unit, the one with the screen, and an end position unit, the one without the screen. All right, so we're connected here, and you can press any button to get to the menus. And menu 1 is called 2+ units auto. So as the name suggests, this is for 2 or more units. You're going to have a start position unit, potentially a mid split timing unit, which again we're not using here, and then of course an end position unit. And the auto refers to how the timer starts. So in this case, it's automatically started after a countdown, followed by a short delay, then a long and loud beep. You can think of it kind of like the gun at a track event, right? So as soon as you hit select here, you have nothing to do, just wait for the timer to end and then listen for that loud beep, and that's your signal to go. Now we also have menu number 2, 2+ units sensor start. So unlike the auto start with sensor start, as soon as you cross the start position unit sensor, the timer will begin. And of course the timer will end when you cross the end position unit sensor. So this is good for fly drills and the like. So make sure you set up behind the sensor, and then as soon as you cross it, the timer will begin. And now menu number 3, we have 1 unit auto. So this is for just one single unit, just the start position unit. And when you hit select, you're going to enter the number of laps or crosses you're going to do in front of the sensor. So there's a number of agility drills where you're crossing in front of a single sensor multiple times. And this will log each one of those crosses as well as the cumulative time. So you're going to enter again how many crosses you're going to do and then hit select. And because it's auto, you're going to get that countdown start. And of course, we have 1 unit sensor. Just like 1 unit auto, but instead of the countdown start, you're going to have the sensor start. Once again, if I hit select here, it would prompt me to enter the number of laps. I would do so, hit select, and then as soon as the sensor picks something up, the timer's going. All right, number 5, you have a speed test. Pretty self-explanatory, across both units, and it will give you a speed measurement. Menu 6 is interesting, brake beam. This is good for if you're doing sensor starts. This is pretty simple. If the sensor is detecting something, it's going to tell you broken and you'll hear beeping. And if it's not detecting something, it'll say unbroken and there won't be any beeping. Now I'm right in front of a screen here, that white screen behind me, so it's going to be broken. I do go in and demonstrate it. You can see there. And the value there is for, again, the sensor drills. You can have the athlete set up, go into the brake beam mode, see if it's detecting the athlete. If it is, you're going to want the athlete to back up a little bit so as not to immediately start the timer when you do that sensor mode. It's also good for, you can take it to a squat rack, make sure you're hitting squat depth or any creative uses. Next up, we have a round timer. You choose how long you want each round to be, and then also the rest time between each round. So whether you're hitting the bag or something, you can make sure you're consistent with your round times. We have a metronome as well, good for keeping pace on a variety of exercises. You can see you can choose the rate. And we have the history menu, where you can see past times. We have the adjust sensor menu, and this is important because you can adjust how far in front of each unit you want to detect. So let's say that screen, that white screen behind me, is 4 feet away. Well, I can set the sensor to only detect within 3 feet, and that way it won't detect the screen, but it will detect an athlete running in front of the unit. So I go in and demonstrate. When you go into a, let me rewind a little bit so you can see that again. So we go to adjust sensor. Once you hit select, it's going to prompt you to choose which unit you're adjusting, because each one can be adjusted separately. You can have a 3-foot detection distance on the start unit and a 6-foot detection distance on the end unit, for example. And once you hit select on the unit you want to adjust, did you hear that beeping? It will beep if it's detecting something. So this is another great way to tell if you need to either increase or decrease the detection distance. You can bring it down, you can bring it up, whatever you want. And that screen's really close, so that's why you keep hearing that beeping. But again, if the screen was 4 feet away and I set the detection distance to 3 feet away, you wouldn't hear any beeping, and that's how you know you're good to go. And again, you can do the same for the mid sensor and the end sensor. And finally, we have false start detection. So false start detection is for the auto starts. As I mentioned, after the timer, there's a brief delay, and before you hear that long and loud beep, if you cross the sensor before that long and loud beep, it's a false start and the timing is canceled. So it's a good way to make sure you're disciplined and train your reaction time. And again, you can toggle that on and off. And that is our video guide for the infrared sport. Again, you can go to positionfitness.com and use the contact form there with any questions. Thanks for watching.